In the history of American automotive manufacturing, no company has ever lost over $12 billion on a single category, and then doubled down with an even bigger bet. But that's exactly what's happening at Ford right now. While the automotive world debates electric vehicle futures, Ford has been hemorrhaging money at an unprecedented rate. Internal documents reveal losses of at least $12 billion since 2022, with losses in previous years pushing the total even higher. But instead of retreating, Ford just announced the most audacious manufacturing gamble in automotive history: a $30,000 electric pickup that could either save the company or destroy it completely. This is the story of a multi-billion-dollar lesson in electric vehicle economics. This is the Garage Brief, your guide through the hidden corners of automotive history, the scandals, the mysteries, the decisions that changed everything. Before we dive deeper, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell so you never miss an upload. Trust me, what comes next is where this story gets really interesting. The financial carnage is something from a corporate nightmare. Ford's internal Model E division reports reveal losses that seem almost impossible to believe. In the first quarter of 2024, they were hemorrhaging $132,000 on every electric vehicle sold. By Q4, they'd clawed this back to $37,000 per vehicle, still enough to buy a car, lost on each sale. CFO John Lawler captured the desperation in earnings commentary. Revenue is dropping faster than we can take out the cost. Corporate speak for financial catastrophe. The numbers reveal a company at war with itself. Ford's traditional truck operations generated $9 billion in profits last year, with healthy margins through Ford Pro. Meanwhile, their electric division bled $5.1 billion. Every F-150 buyer effectively subsidizes someone else's electric Mustang, a business model that even the most optimistic executives know can't last. The crisis forced surgical cuts. Ford canceled their 3-row electric SUV, writing off nearly $500,000 in development costs, with another $1.5 billion in potential charges looming. Wall Street's verdict was brutal. A nearly 20% stock plunge in July 2024, though shares are up slightly year-to-date in 2025, as investors begin to appreciate the strategy shift. But here's where the story becomes fascinating, rather than tragic. Instead of retreating, CEO Jim Farley announced they're essentially refounding Ford. The evidence suggests he's not using hyperbole. Ford's bleeding reflects an industry-wide reckoning that no one wants to acknowledge publicly. Tesla, the supposed EV king, just posted its first annual sales decline ever. 2024 deliveries fell 1.1% year-over-year. Tesla's share of the U.S. electric vehicle market has crumbled from 75% in early 2022 to 46% in 2025. Chinese manufacturers like BYD prove they can build comparable vehicles at costs that threaten to bankrupt American counterparts. Consumer research reveals the brutal truth behind the hype. Only 34% of Americans intend to purchase an EV in 2024, down from 48% the previous year, according to EY's Mobility Consumer Index. The barriers remain stubbornly unchanged: cost, charging anxiety, and battery replacement fears. Roughly half or more of buyers say federal tax credits were decisive to their purchase, depending on segment and survey. Those incentives face uncertain political futures. This creates what industry insiders quietly call the profitability paradox. To make EVs affordable enough for mass adoption, manufacturers must sell at massive losses, but sustained losses become corporate suicide when production costs remain stubbornly high and competitors can build equivalent vehicles for thousands less. Ford's answer emerged from a California skunkworks facility, where former Tesla engineer Alan Clark leads a team that's completely reimagined vehicle manufacturing. Their universal EV platform represents more than incremental improvement. It's what Ford calls its biggest production rethink in decades. The breakthrough abandons Henry Ford's greatest innovation, the assembly line. Instead, Ford developed what they call an assembly tree, where three major subassemblies, front section, rear section, and structural battery pack, are built simultaneously, then joined together with the precision of a Swiss watch. The results sound almost too good to be true, targeting up to 40% faster assembly, roughly 20% fewer parts, and almost 30% fewer fasteners. The vehicle contains 4,000 feet less wiring than the Mustang Mach-E, enough copper to wire a small house, simply eliminated through intelligent design. Large aluminum unicastings replace dozens of traditional stamped and welded components. But the real breakthrough lies in Ford's battery strategy. They're abandoning expensive nickel-manganese cobalt chemistry for lithium iron phosphate, or LFP, cells. Ford plans LFP cell production starting in 2026. If achieved, it would be among the first large-scale American LFP producers and would reduce dependence on Chinese suppliers who currently produce 98% of LFP material and cells today. The engineering philosophy prioritizes what Ford calls elegant simplification. The battery pack becomes a structural element. The vehicle's energy source is literally its backbone, eliminating the need for separate reinforcement framework. It's Tesla's manufacturing philosophy, executed with Ford's century of production expertise. Ford's planned Louisville assembly plant transformation represents their most ambitious manufacturing overhaul in generations. A $2 billion investment will completely reimagine how vehicles are built. Ford says the Louisville overhaul secures roughly 2,200 jobs, though the UAW expects around 2,300 temporary layoffs for 8 to 10 months during retooling. Kentucky has become a crucial battleground for American EV manufacturing, with major investments like Blue Oval SK's $5.8 billion battery facilities, plus additional supplier investments. The stakes extend far beyond Ford. Success proves American manufacturing can compete with global production costs. Failure suggests the entire domestic automotive industry needs fundamental reimagining. Everything hinges on achieving one seemingly impossible target: $30,000 for a four-door electric pickup truck. Around $20,000 less than the cheapest current electric pickup. The number isn't arbitrary. It represents the price point where electric trucks become accessible to average American buyers, rather than luxury purchases for early adopters. Success would create Ford's Model T moment, not because the technology is revolutionary, but because the philosophy mirrors Henry Ford's original insight. The Model T succeeded because it was the car everyone could afford, not necessarily the best car available. Simplicity and affordability trumped sophistication and performance. Ford is betting that consumers want reliable, affordable transportation, not rolling computers packed with features they'll never use. By prioritizing simplification over sophistication, they're rejecting Silicon Valley's disruption playbook in favor of Detroit's manufacturing discipline refined over more than a century. Ford's Louisville plant begins production of the new mid-size electric pickup in 2027. By then, the competitive landscape will have shifted dramatically, and consumer patience with expensive EVs could be exhausted. The window for achieving mass-market electric vehicle profitability is closing rapidly. Success means the democratization of electric vehicle ownership. Failure signals that the EV revolution requires a completely different approach than anyone has attempted. Perhaps one that prioritizes hybrid technology or alternative fuel solutions over pure electrification. For automotive enthusiasts, this transcends corporate strategy. It's about whether American automotive leadership survives the electric transition or becomes another casualty of global manufacturing competition. Ford has wagered at least $12 billion in accumulated losses, plus billions more in future investment on a simple proposition. They can build an electric pickup for $30,000 that people actually want to buy. In less than 2 years, we'll discover whether they demonstrated visionary leadership or learned one of the most expensive lessons in automotive history. The next chapter unfolds in Kentucky factories and California design studios. Ford's multi-billion-dollar education in EV economics approaches its final examination. The outcome affects every driver, Because if Ford can't make electric vehicles profitable at $30,000, it raises fundamental questions about whether mass-market electrification is achievable with current technology and economics. What's your take? Brilliant strategy, or the most expensive gamble in automotive history? Share your thoughts below and subscribe to follow this story as it develops. Either way, this will be historic. Thanks for watching The Garage Brief. If stories like these fascinate you, make sure to subscribe and ring that bell to get notified when we post new videos. It genuinely helps grow the channel, and we really appreciate it. See you next time.